I'm Nathan Cohns here with your look at the midday news for this Friday, August 21st, 2026. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Rob Sands drew a crowd of around 230 people last night as he hosted a campaign stop in Carroll County on his 100 town hall tour. Sands told the crowd gathered at the Swan Lake Conservation Education Center that he may be running as a Democrat, but he first registered to vote as an independent as he finds the two-party system to be broken. However, when it comes to running, Sands says the reality is you have to choose one if you want to be elected.
Part of my decision to register as a Democrat was thinking about the little guy and how my faith calls me to be looking out for the little guy. I also really like having clean water to fish in and to drink, and I like having public land that everybody can go and enjoy God's creation on. It shouldn't be that you have to afford to buy land in order to enjoy the outdoors. I also remember Bill Clinton balancing the budget using the surplus to pay down the debt and thinking, thank you, that's a lot of money. I want that number to get smaller and not get bigger. Those are reasons that I registered as a Democrat. That doesn't mean that if you agree with me on this issues, you have to be one. I'm just trying to help you understand where I'm coming from.
Sands served as the Iowa State Auditor for 2 terms and was first elected to statewide office in 2018. Prior to that, Sands served as a prosecutor in the Iowa Attorney General's office, handling most of the state's public corruption cases. He also led the investigation and prosecution linked to the 2017 Hot Lotto rigging scheme. Sands says 10 years of one-party control, which he spent most of that time as the only statewide elected Democrat, has showed him one-party control creates an environment where waste, fraud, and abuse can expand. He believes Iowa does its best work with divided government.
Out of my first 34 years alive, 30 of them we had divided government in Des Moines. And I heard a Republican and a Democratic legislative leader say together we do our best work when we are forced to work together. Forced by the people of the state of Iowa. Because otherwise they are led into the temptation to just do what a little private club wants and a handful of people who are very happy with the way things are going for that private club. That's what I want to get back to. Our Iowa tradition, our Iowa heritage, divided government, divided thinking, so that our thinking is balanced.
Sands took questions from the crowd during the latter half of the event, with the first concerning Iowa's privatization of Medicaid. While the use of managed care organizations has seen some success in other states, Sands calls Iowa's attempt an abject failure.
Managed care means there's some incentive structures there for folks whose lives can be improved by giving them an incentive to make improvements. Because if we maintain managed care, we can pull in a lot of federal money, maybe $1 billion a year. But the main problem has been that we have farmed this out to for-profit companies. And they are treating it as a way to simply make money regardless of what it does to people's health or what it does to your healthcare costs. Because here's what happened in the 10 years since we have let these for-profit companies run Medicaid in the state of Iowa. Your costs have gone up.
The state's education savings accounts was another question brought up by an attendee. Sands, who has opposed the program since before its inception, says it's unlikely he could do away with ESAs if he's elected, but he says there are limitations the Republican-controlled legislature might find amenable.
We have a $1.3 billion annual budget deficit in Iowa, and yet we're giving the vast majority of this money to families who make so much money every year that they don't make a single spending decision in order to afford private tuition, and they were going to send their kids to private school anyway. Folks, if you're paying someone to do a thing they do for free, stop. That's dumb.
He also advocates for increased oversight of how private schools are using the funds provided through ESAs. Iowa's water quality issues and second-in-the-nation cancer rates were also discussed during Sands' event last night. Both Sands and his Republican opponent, Zach Lane, have made those issues high priorities for their respective campaigns. Sands says Iowa's water quality issues are multifaceted and complex, but it all starts with actually funding Iowa's Water and Land Legacy, or I Will Trust Fund, which was approved by 63% of voters in 2010, but hasn't been highly utilized. As for cancer, Sands says nitrates are in the water and play a factor there, but Iowans' habits, including smoking, their diets, and exercise, are also significant contributing factors. He notes the state's high radon levels also can no longer be ignored and advocated for more targeted mitigation plans. With only about 7 weeks remaining until early voting opens and 10 weeks until Election Day, the Cook Political Report recently shifted Iowa's gubernatorial race to leans Democratic. An approximately 1 mile stretch of Quill Avenue north of Litterdale in Carroll County will be closed next week for pavement patching. According to the Carroll County Road Department, and construction begins on Monday at 6 a.m. between 140th and 130th Street. County officials say local traffic will still have access to their homes and properties. However, drivers will need to navigate the patched areas cautiously. Work is expected to conclude by next weekend on Saturday, August 29th, barring inclement weather. Questions can be directed to the Carroll County Road Department by calling 712-792-3603. And we do need to step away here for just a moment. Stick around. Got more news. It's on the way after this on KCIM.
Farmers, you work hard every day to keep your land and livestock thriving. At Mount Carmel Mutual, we understand the unique challenges you face. That's why we offer comprehensive farm insurance just for you. From your equipment to your buildings and livestock, as a Grinnell Mutual member insurance company, we've got you covered. Protect your livelihood with a name you can trust. Call Mount Carmel Mutual today at 712-673-2827 and trust in tomorrow with Mount Carmel Mutual and Grinnell Mutual.
Trust in Tomorrow is a registered trademark for Grinnell Mutual Reinsurance Company.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Dries Company is hiring. Dries Company is looking for experienced journeyman electricians for service and commercial work. Join a growing family-owned company that values hard work, integrity, and its employees. Enjoy health insurance, paid time off, retirement benefits, employee discounts, job bonuses, and opportunities to grow your career. Put your experience to work with a company celebrating 93 years in business. Apply at driesco.com or send your resume to sdries@driesco.com. Tonight, unwind with live music from local favorite Joel Warnemont at the Cupola. Great music, your favorite pour, and one of the best patios in town, all from 7 until 9 tonight. If you've heard him perform, you know why people keep coming back. See you tonight at the Cupola in Carroll.
Welcome back to KCIM's Midday News. I'm Nathan Cones reporting. Iowa's ag leaders honored more than 500 families at the Iowa State Fair this week for keeping farms and their families for at least a century, with a record 240 families receiving the Heritage Farm designation for 150 years. So the recognition includes 274 century farms that have been owned by the same family for at least 100, and like I said, 240 heritage farms held by families for a century and a half or potentially longer. The ceremony does coincide with America 250. That's the Century Farm Program's 50th anniversary as well, and the Heritage Farm Program's 20th anniversary. There was a ton of local recipients, including David and Verlene Hokamp of Exira. They became a heritage farm this year. Lon D. Kilworth of Exira, and the Kroll family farms of Audubon's, those century farms. And then there are 18 Carroll County operations. There's just too many to list here on air. I just picked a couple at random there. You can find the full list of our local honorees included with this story on our website. Since the programs began, more than 21,000 century farms have been recognized and 2,400 heritage farms honored. Each of the 2026 recipients did receive an America 250 themed certificate as well as a farm sign to display at their operation. And several hundred motorcyclists going to be passing through Carroll this weekend for the American Legion's 2026 Legacy Run to raise money for veterans and their families. And local members do hope to welcome the cavalcade in style. Gary Schmitz, a U.S. Navy veteran and president of the Breda American Legion Riders, says the procession is expected to begin arriving in Carroll around 2:30 p.m. on Sunday, and he's encouraging residents to line U.S. Highway 30 as the about 300 riders make their way through town.
My goal is to have a visual recognition that, hey, we're coming into Carroll, and as bikers from out of town that have never been here, they're in awe that, hey, there's people that are here. The fire department, we're hopes that we can get fire truck out there with their lights to escort all the bikers across town. And from there, I'd like to start seeing people along the roadway by the businesses. As we get up to the 71 intersection, I'd like to see people all the way lined alongside the road and stuff. And as we get closer and closer to the east side of Carroll, I'd like to see just shoulder-to-shoulder people.
Initially, the Legacy Run was founded to support the Legacy Fund, which provided scholarships to the children of veterans who were killed or wounded during their service. In just 15 years, the Legacy Run raised enough money for that scholarship fund to be self-sustaining. Their focus then shifted to the Veterans and Children's Foundation, which supports vets and their families during times of crisis.
But when we got service members that there might be someone deployed, one of our aircraft carriers, they've been gone for over 9 months. So they haven't seen their spouse or something, and kids haven't seen mom or dad, and, you know, here they are. They don't know if, hopefully the bills are getting paid and stuff, but One of them might be back home struggling, might be bad, having a hard time getting bills paid and stuff for whatever reason. And that's one of the big reasons behind this Veterans and Children's Foundation, is to help provide those things that they may be struggling on. Because we all don't know what everybody else's situation is, but we have a reality check that people have hard times.
Schmidt says they hosted a drive-through fundraiser at Windows Weapons last week with a little bit of help from us here at Carroll Broadcasting. They raised nearly $3,800. He had been hoping to present at least a 5-figure check to the Legacy Runs organizers on behalf of the region, and they're nearly to that mark.
We had a lot of people come in, businesses that were dropping $500 checks, and we still got 4 or 5 days here that, hey, I'm still available to receive those funding, and we can add it to our total so that on Sunday when we present our mock check to the national chairman, hopefully that's a $10,000 figure.
A link to Schmidt's donation page is included with this story on our website. Local American Legion riders will be posted at the Towers Harley-Davidson parking lot on Plaza Drive from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Sunday to collect contributions as well, and that'll be added to their total. The nearly 1,000-mile route begins on Sunday in Lincoln, Nebraska, and Carroll will be the riders' first fueling stop on that trip. The procession will spend the next several days traveling through Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana before ending at Fort Knox, Kentucky, for the 2026 American Legion National Convention. That is going to be wrapping up your look at the midday news for this Friday, August 21st, 2026. I'm Nathan Cones reporting, wishing you a great weekend. Before I go, just a reminder that had a ton of news on the docket for you today. Couldn't fit it all here into your midday news. So be sure to check us out online on Facebook, on our KCIM page there at 1380kcim.com as well, or through the Carroll Broadcasting mobile app, so you can always stay in the know on what's going on here in the area. Again, have a great weekend, everyone. I'm Nathan Cones.